So thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here presenting about Wikidata and authority files, also on my birthday. So this is a very interesting and complex theme that I will try to squeeze in 25 minutes. I will skip a lot of the slides that you already find on Commons. So I will skip some groups of slides. So a summary. What is authority control and why it matters? I think we can go quickly also because we had the previous presentation that explained it very well. The role of Wikidata in authority control and some conclusions. If you want, there is a longer version of this in English and also a much longer version of this in Italian, already on Commons. So, what is authority control? Basically, libraries, authority control is a concept born in the world of libraries. They try to create unique access points for books. And so they want to have like entries regarding each person, not only person, also organization, places, etc., that are somehow related with the book. And in this entry, they try to register all the forms of the name, all their forms of the name, so that the users can search the author with different names and can always find it. And at the same time, authority records are also meant to disambiguate between homonyms. So these are the two scopes, basically dealing with synonyms in the sense of collecting all the variant forms of the names of an author, and at the same time disambiguating homonyms. An authority record usually contains a univocal identifier that, of course, is fundamental to link to it. There is a preferred form of the name and possibly variant names, as we said. Ideally, there should be some information about the author in order to make it clearer the identity of the author. This information should be based on references, and there should also be possibly links to other databases, for example, Wikidata, and the authority record should be linked to all and only the pertinent bibliographic records present in the catalog. Okay, all of this is quite easy. This is an example of authority record from Italy. You see below the univocal identifier. Here at the top, the authorized form, variant forms. Here are some basic information about the author, and these are the sources. So basically, this is like very small, but contains all the most relevant parts of an authority record. So authority control is the process of creating authority records, and the group of all the authority records in a library catalog constitutes the authority file. Here there are some interesting slides about the quality of authority records that I will skip using this arrow. No, I will skip them manually. Okay, so basically the most important international initiatives regarding authority files and their interconnection, because of course there are a lot of authority files in the world maintained especially by national libraries, as we said. The three most important initiatives are WIAF, ISNI, and Wikidata. And let's briefly speak about the other two first, so WIAF and ISNI. For WIAF, so WIAF is the Virtual International Authority File. It is a meta-authority file that basically uses algorithms. It's like entirely automatic, and there is an algorithm that periodically uses the data sent by its members that are mostly national libraries, and also it extracts data from the other two that we said, so ISNI and Wikidata, and it tries, as I said, to cluster them, to say that the authority record for Pythagoras in the Italian National Library and the German one and the French one and so on are in the same cluster. It tries to put together the authority records that are about the same entity, person, organization, place, what it is. VF is managed since 2012 by OCLC, and it contains, or at least it contained 5 years ago, 22 million persons. So probably now they are more, some more millions, just to have an idea of the dimension. It also contains other types of entities that are not persons, like organizations, works, places, etc. VIAF plays a fundamental role in interconnecting authority files around the world, despite many issues like clusterization mistakes that are due in part to the fact that the national libraries send imprecise data. And so in these cases, correcting the data in the national libraries is usually sufficient to solve the clusterization issues. In some other cases, the clusterization issues are due to mistakes of the algorithms. And in this case, we cannot do nothing. Unfortunately, a lot of wrong clusterizations of VIAF simply will remain there until the algorithm is hopefully changed. There have been also in the last year some relevant governance issues, basically OCLC changing some technical aspects of how VIAF works without previously informing VIAF members and other people in the web that use for example, the VIAF API or the VIAF dumps, etc. So yeah, VIAF has some relevant problems, but still it has 22 million persons, and its clusterization is mostly, with many issues, correct. So it remains a cornerstone of this ecosystem. Then ISNI. ISNI is, I would say, a sort of authority file in the sense that it shares most of the characteristics of authority files, but not all of them. It's managed by the ISNI International Agency that coordinates 3 types of organizations that can edit it: ISNI registration agencies, ISNI members, and direct data contributors. They are libraries, but also other types of entities. This is interesting. Among the entities that can edit ISNI, there are also publishers, universities, and also like YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and so on. I am honestly unsure how much these different type of entities contribute to ISNI, and I tend to think that most is done anyway by libraries. But anyway, this cooperation of different types of organization is interesting. And for this reason, for example, ISNI has a lot of singers or musicians, etc., that are not contained in VIAF, but that are contained in ISNI. The importance of ISNI derives mainly from the fact that it is an ISO standard since basically its founding date, so since 2012. So in theory, it is the identifier that should be used as a standard in the world to identify a person, also an organization, but mainly persons. And it includes, as of this year, 14 million persons. So it's significantly fewer than VIAF, but still it's a lot of persons. So, and as I said, there is no full overlap between VIAF and ISNI. Then we go to Wikidata. So how Wikidata interacts with authority files and can be useful for authority files. Yay. So firstly, this is like a general summary, and let's start with the first point. Okay, we have a few statistics about users that use Wikidata to do stuff regarding authority control. And basically, if we take these numbers, the numbers below, we can see that there are some hundreds of users that are active in Wikidata, adding authority, the identifiers, the external identifiers of authority files like VIAF, ISNI, etc. Many hundreds of users, of course, like some adding just a few identifiers, some adding tens or hundreds. But anyway, there is a significant community in Wikidata doing these things. So first, requisites to link from Wikidata to an authority file. Basically, the authority file should have URIs for its authority records. If the authority records have URIs, Wikidata can link to them, otherwise not. And on the opposite side, the authority file can always link to Wikidata through the 017 field in Unimark and the 024 field in Mark 21. So also if your authority file doesn't have already URIs for the authority records, you can start put into the authority records the Wikidata ID, so that when the authority records get URIs, you can just make a massive import into Wikidata of the links to your authority records. So yeah, this is the first aspect, how to interlink them. Second aspect, how to reconcile authority files in Wikidata. This, of course, is valid not only for authority files, but is more general. Basically, you can always go manually. This is legitimate. If you have a list of matches, you can just use quick statements. This is the old one, of course. As you know, there is also the newer quick statements 3.0 that can also be used. You can use quick statements to quickly import the matches. And if you don't have yet a list of matches, there are two tools that you can use in order to facilitate the reconciliation, so the matching between your authority file and Wikidata. And these two tools are Mix and Match and OpenRefine. I don't have time in this occasion to explain the similarities and the differences, but if you go to the longer version of this presentation, you find some hints about this. So, of course, reconciling your authority file with Wikidata has many positive aspects, including the fact that your authority file can be displayed at the bottom of Wikipedia articles, as you see here in some screenshots from Italian, English, and Greek Wikipedia. You see at the bottom of the articles links to authority files. So also in terms of visibility, this can be useful. Then, how to use Wikidata to improve authority files. So this could be a very long part, but I will limit to explain these 5 points, and then I will skip the next 20 slides going to the conclusions. So basically, these are the 5 ways in which you can benefit reciprocally of the interaction between an authority file and Wikidata. Some ways regard editing the authority file, some ways regard editing Wikidata, and some regard editing both. So, first aspect, if you, Wikidata user, find mistakes in an authority file while reconciling it with Wikidata, it's important that you have a way to report mistakes to the authority file. So the authority file should have a way that allows you, the reader, to send them reports of things to be improved. This, of course, is mainly a benefit for the authority file, but also for Wikidata, because it avoids that, for example, in the future, someone uses the authority file as a source to import to Wikidata, manually or massively, wrong data. So it's very important to correct the mistakes also in the authority file. Second aspect, through Wikidata and its constraint violations specifically, it's easy to find mistakes that affect the interconnection between the two and, for example, to find duplicates in Wikidata and duplicates in the authority file. So going to the constraint violations, you can find the mistakes in both the two involved parties. And in order to empty this list of constraint violations, you should fix the mistakes in Wikidata and the mistakes in the authority file. If you fix the mistakes only on one side, the list will continue containing the mistakes of the other side. Of course, you can always edit Wikidata manually to improve its quality, and improving the quality of Wikidata also means that, for example, other authority files in other countries of the world will find in Wikidata good data about the authors of your country, and it will be easier for them to compile their authority records using the data in Wikidata about authors of a country of which otherwise they wouldn't know much. They would have difficulties in knowing much. And being Wikidata multilingual, they can basically see the data about the authors also of very distant countries in their language. And so for them, it can be easy to edit their authority records. So fixing the data in Wikidata is very important also to give them a lot of visibility. And then finally, you can do massive imports in both directions from the authority files to Wikidata and from Wikidata to the authority files. I cannot give a lot of details about this, but there are already examples of both of these. Basically, in Italy, we have done a lot of imports from Wikidata to the Italian National Authority file, and in the Czech Republic, there have been a lot of very good imports from the Czech Authority file to Wikidata. So these are two examples that can be replicated elsewhere. Now, I will use this arrow to skip to the conclusions. So the benefits of cooperating between an authority file and Wikidata, of course, is making the catalog more visible. As I said, for example, you can have the links from Wikipedia to your authority file. That means to your catalog. You can make your catalog more interconnected. Also, for example, displaying in your catalog data from Wikidata that can be very useful for the reader. And you can make your catalog more correct. Of course, in interconnecting your catalog with Wikidata, you can find a lot of mistakes of orthography, of authority bibliographic records that are wrongly attributed, of authority records without some aliases or outdated. And especially you can find conflations and duplications in authority records. So the work that you do in interconnecting your authority file with Wikidata is also a very, very good way to improve the quality of the authority file itself, fixing many mistakes. And also, this is like a bit sideways, but it can also be interesting to make your authority file more easier to study, so that you can see, for example, which are all the authors in your authority file that speak a certain language, that have a certain field of activity, etc. Drawing this data from Wikidata. Of course, this is doable if you have systematically reconciled your authority file with Wikidata. So it requires a lot of effort, but it can have very, very interesting results. And yeah, this is probably second, it's not the first thing to which you should aim. The most important things, I would say, are the three that I said before: the visibility, the useful information for the readers, so the interconnection and the correctness of your data, but also making your catalog easier to study is very important. So yeah, this is also something to be taken into account. So the real conclusions are these. authority files and Wikidata are both very important in the semantic web, and cooperating is very good for them. What you can do personally, of course, be aware of the existence and the importance of the authority files. If you find mistakes in authority files, report them always. And through Wikidata, you can help authority files in many ways, especially, okay, first, you should try to understand the library panorama of your country and start interconnecting your authority file if possible, and if no one has already started doing it. Then, more practically, in Wikidata, of course, you can propose properties for the authority files in your country. You can create mix and match catalogs for them to start reconciling them at a fastest speediness, because, of course, doing it manually requires more time. If you have mix and match, you go much quicker. When you create items, you should try to enrich them. And of course, carefully deal with homonyms. This is a field, the homonyms is a field in which Wikidata can do huge progresses in comparison with a lot of authority files. So a careful treatment of homonyms is very, very valuable. And if you find mistakes, always report them. And around Wikidata, of course, you can try to establish collaborations with the institutions managing the authority files, so especially national libraries. And more practically, what you should ask is make the authority files visible if they aren't yet. Sometimes they aren't. Periodical dumps are very, very important. For example, to do massive imports, and also to do massive imports, having CC0 is a legal requirement. So releasing authority files in CC0 would enable us to import at least the good quality authority records, so it's important. You should train librarians about Wikidata. If you need help, you can ask Wikimedia Deutschland, that will be surely able to provide. And yay! And you should also try to establish, this is of course more difficult. This is something that basically only Czech Republic has achieved as of now, but establishing some kind of periodical synchronization between authority files and Wikidata is the future. And also we should increase the number of librarians involved in Wikidata. For coordinating them, starting a wiki project is a good idea. And with all of this, we can advance a lot, both in authority files and in Wikidata. These are some slides about Italy that I will not say, but you find on Commons. So thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much, Camillo. That was a great introduction to authority controls in Wikidata. Are there any questions from the audience? And is that hand raised that you want to ask a question, or an accidental share?
No. Yes, a real question. So this is really great work, really interesting. Thanks for sharing. I'm a amateur user of OpenRefine. I've run into a lot of these reconciliation issues. And I've been toying around with ways of basically evaluating different algorithms to do automatic matching. So some of the examples I've seen is like when people have done this reconciliation between authority records, like these are great positive examples. But you mentioned that it's very important to report mismatches. Like, so when there's essentially an overmerge of like, oh, Barack Hussein Obama versus Barack Obama Mandela, two candidates for US president, like these are very similar. They often get mismatched. And like, I'm wondering if like these reports are available somewhere. So one, people won't make the same mismatching approach in the future, and two, if just they can be used as a way of I guess evaluating different approaches. Yeah, and thank you.
So basically, what I said is a bit different. So basically, there could be like mistakes in the reconciliation between an authority file or another dataset and Wikidata, and there could be mistakes in the dataset itself that is reconciled with Wikidata. So what I was saying is like it's important to report the mistakes in external datasets, like if an authority file has the wrong date of birth of a person, or if an authority file has a typo in the name of the person, it is important to report it. And okay, this is one side. The other side is if there has been a mistake in the reconciliation between a dataset and Wikidata, basically, I think that it is sufficient to just, on the Wikidata side, you can just move the identifiers from the incorrect item to the correct item. And this should be sufficient because if someone else in the future readds the wrong relation to another item, there will be a constraint violation because the ID will be present also in the correct item, and so this will trigger a constraint violation, and hopefully someone will notice it and solve it. Of course, if the wrong match is also in the external database, then you should also report, please, in this authority record, the correct Wikidata ID is this one and not this one. So ideally, of course, you should have the correct match on both sides, but at least if you fix it in Wikidata, you have the guarantee that if someone reacts in Wikidata the wrong match, there will be in the future a constraint violation, and so it will be easy to notice this re-addition of the wrong match in Wikidata if it has been fixed before.
I see. Thank you.